Hi, Mark here. Today we're going to freeze dry some parsley. I got two varieties here. I got the curly leaf and I got the Italian flat leaf. I've always grown the flat leaf years before, and probably the main reason was all these chefs on TV are always saying flat leaf, that's the way to go. You gotta grow flat leaf for all your stuff. Curly leaf, people always thought that was just to put that as a decoration on your food. But I found out this year, growing curly leaf and flat leaf, and actually I think I prefer the curly leaf. It's easier to chop. I think it tastes a little bit sweeter, doesn't get quite as bitter, and it does look nice. So I'll show you what I got here. We're going to cut some and we're going to take it down, clean it. Doesn't take too much cleaning. I don't use chemicals out here in my garden, so basically just make sure there's no dust or dirt or little bugs on it. The flat leaf parsley looks like it's starting to go a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but there's little spots on some of it. I'm not sure what that's from. I've noticed some white flies in the garden this year, later now in the season, so it could be from them, but I don't see it on the parsley. Alright, let's get to it. I'm going to cut some. Got a couple pans here. I'm going to keep this stuff separate. So, get it downstairs. I'm going to freeze dry both. I'm going to leave some on here, obviously, if we need some fresh. So we're going to cut this, and I'm going to take quite a bit of the stem because I don't like the stems just hanging in here. I'm not going to freeze dry the stems. Those will go back in the compost. And alright, here's the curly leaf. I think that looks really nice. Pretty tender. I don't know if you've seen that. Can't see what I'm videoing here. I don't have one of those kind of cameras. So I'm going to cut a bunch of this. Here's the flat leaf. Dig down here. There's a pretty nice one here. Cut some of this off of here. These look a little sparse. Put them in a separate pan. And here's a little moss rose growing from seed. Anyway, I'm going to cut that up, and we'll take it downstairs, rinse it off, and get the freeze dryer ready, put it in there. Got the parsley picked, and looks a lot different, doesn't it? I thought I'd pull off all the older ones and get rid of that. Here's my flat leaf. Got a little one there, a little one there, and the third plant I had, let's see if we can get in there. It rotted off. Roots were rotten. So, this is all I got. Flat leaf. And I got the curly. I'm going to take that downstairs and clean it. All the rest of this went into compost. Last year I lost a lot of parsley. I had it over on this side. And what happened was I thought the groundhog got a woodchuck. But it wasn't him, it was voles. Voles had crawled under, dug under the ground and ate the roots right off.
Aww, so cute.
There's the compost pile. More parsley in there than I'm taking in the house. There's compost that should be used. This compost here should have been used. And just show you, here's a volunteer ground cherry. It's one of the biggest ones I've ever had, I think, growing next to the compost pile. Alright, got the parsley in the house. Gave it a double rinse in some cold water. As cold as I could get out of the faucet anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in the freeze dryer trays. Not with the stems. I'm going to try to pick the leaves off. It's heavy stems, they'll freeze dry and everything, but I don't want to have to pick them out later. So we're going to do that. You don't have to watch me do all of that. Who wants to watch all that? So I'll get these ready. I'm going to put them on my trays. My trays are right over here. And sometimes we put a mat on here or some parchment paper or something, but I'm just going to lay these parsley right on there. And that'll be just fine. Okay, got a good pile of curly leaf, and didn't think of it when I was doing the flat leaf. That's all I got from the flat leaf. But got my handy dandy spinner out, spun most of the water off of there. And just damp it dry. It doesn't have to be dry. So, when I finished cutting that up or breaking the little leaves off of there, and we'll see what we get. Okay, got the 4 trays done. This is the tray of flat leaf, and then we got 3 trays of the curly leaf going on there, and then 1 pan with some of the heavier stems. Don't want those in there. So we're going to take these and we're going to take them over to the freeze dryer, and we're going to set that up and you'll see how that all works. Okay, here we go. Well, if you haven't seen any of my other videos on this, what I've got here is a Harvest Right medium-sized freeze dryer. This is a stainless steel model. It just looks nicer, costs a little more. But okay, so what we got to do, everything's cleaned out in here. I had it all cleaned out. I've been running candy loads. Finally had a chance to do something else. Got 4 trays. Slide these in there. If you're not familiar with freeze drying, what's going to happen here, when I put these in, we're going to set it up so it gets really cold down below 0. Hopefully down below 10 below for this. And once it reaches that temperature, vacuum pump comes on, creates a vacuum in there, and there's heater pads under these. And what's going to happen is it's going to start to heat it up. The moisture is going to start coming out. It's not going to come out as water or vapor. It's going to be sublimation, kind of a vapor gaseous thing. And then that vapor then freezes on the sides of this drum. That stays really cold. I'll close this up. And there's a valve on the side here to let the water out. And what we got to do is close that so when the vacuum pump kicks in, it doesn't take it out. Show you what we're going to set it up as. These are herbs, whatever. Okay, this is the interface. This is where we're going to set it up. We have a custom button, a start button, and we can set this for temperatures and various things. So we're going to customize it. And these are herbs. Now, if you dehydrate them and freeze dry them, you don't want to do these too high. You can see here I've got it at 145 degrees. That's what I was running candies on. Herbs are best done right around between 95 degrees Fahrenheit to about 110, 115. That's what they dehydrate them on in the dehydrator, and that's what we're going to do it on in here. I think we're going to take this down to 110. The extra dry time, that's if I don't get down here in time. It'll keep going for another 2 hours. Initial freeze, I got it set at 0 because candies don't really need to get frozen. This here, I'm going to set up down to 10. This can go down to 20, but I have a problem. If I put it down to 20, it doesn't seem to ever get down that cold. But that's plenty. I'm going to save it. And then we can just do a start. It'll start running. It's going to freeze first. It'll take probably, from my experience, it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to get down to where I want it to freeze before the pump and all that stuff starts. So I just do a start. Runs in. It's going to tell me to wait 15 minutes. It's cooling the vacuum chamber. And then I can load in the trays. Well, this doesn't matter. This wasn't pre-frozen, so I just put them in now, and it can go along with the system. Okay, so that's that. If anybody out there has any views on parsley, flat leaf versus curly leaf, I'd certainly appreciate them. Well, why don't you put them down in the comments? Tell me you like it, don't like it, and why. And maybe other people can get an idea what's better. I don't know. Next year I might change my mind and think the flat leaf is better. Kind of happens to us old guys. The freeze dryer has been running for almost 14 hours now. It took about 5 hours, a little over 5 hours to get down cold enough where it actually started doing the freeze dried process, which I'm a little surprised. 5 hours seems awful long for the size of that chamber in there. But anyway, food wasn't pre-frozen. That might have had something to do with it. We could usually pre-freeze stuff in the freezer before you put it in here. And then went to bed last night. Had been running a little over 5 hours in the freeze drying process. It wasn't quite done, so I went to bed, got up this morning, and it got done. And what happens when this thing gets done, it's gonna refreeze the food and wait for you to come down to do something. So right now this is down to about minus 18 degrees Fahrenheit frozen. You can see a lot of moisture build up here on the window. What makes me wonder if one of those pillows, they have a pillow that you can put inside here, would help or not, but well, that's either here nor there. So what we're going to do here, if we can see what's happening, there's a button up here that says warm trays. So I'm push that warm trays, and we want to warm those trays before we pull this stuff out of here, because what will happen is humidity in the air, well, it's going to happen with right what happens with this window here, you know. The humidity is going to settle on that food and pretty much ruin our process. So we're going to warm the trays before I take this out, and then we'll look at it. Sorry about the noise in here, but the machine is a little bit loud. And I'm going to leave it run for now. Wipe the moisture off there. I don't want this moisture to be dripping on my stuff. Anyway, I had it on warm trays, got up to, well, right now it says 80 degrees. Yeah, this feels pretty warm. This will be okay. Take that out, there's the curly leaf. And this one's a little bit cool, but it'll be okay. Close that back up. I'm just going to leave it, and I may or may not put some more stuff in there. I think we'll turn it off. I'm going to go with no defrost. There's a button up there, no defrost. No defrost, it's just going to melt out of there naturally. There's the defrost button that'll warm everything up, but I don't really need that. Here's our curly leaf. Probably put all these together. The jar is a little bit too big that I got here. For now, I'm just going to put it in this jar. Quart jar. My pump fits on here. They don't. No way. Okay, got a different jar. Looked like a lot when we did it earlier with putting this stuff on here, but not too much now. Just put all this curly leaf in a jar. One jar. Like that. Shove it on in there. I'm not going to crush it up right now. We can do that at another time. It's going to be crushed up. Just push it in there. Well, I think maybe I should have stayed with the bigger jar. Be right back. I'll just show you what we're going to do. I'm going to put this in a bigger jar, and then once we get that jar full, I'm going to vacuum pack that. The way I do that, put one of these on. We got these handy little things from Food Saver, and rather than get the Food Saver machine out, we got these little things here. This will automatically pull that air right out of there and create a vacuum for us. Keep it fresh. Here we go. I don't know if you can hear that or not. There we go. And when it gets to a suitable sound decibel here, let it go, pull it off. Now watch what happens. Take that off. Vacuum packed. That easy. Might transfer that to something else later, but now we're just going to put them in the jars. You Here's the flat leaf parsley. Colors looks pretty good. I think it got a little bit darker. Did a taste test on them. Can't tell too much difference in the taste. I think the flat leaf tastes a little bit more bitter. And also in the mouth, it just kind of sticks the inside of my mouth because it's so flat. And it's really dry. I think this went well. Put this in a jar, vacuum seal it, and we'll see what we can do with it later. Alright. Stay tuned. Thinking of buying another freeze dryer, and we'll do some comparison tests. It's not going to be a Harvest Right. It's going to be a different brand, so check in every now and then to see if I go through with that plan. I've got enough money from selling freeze-dried candy that I can do that, and we'll see. Good and tight, just like we like them.